Hello, my name is Kurt Euler, and welcome to another edition of CMO Live. Today, we're going to be talking about real estate marketing during a recession, how your business can not just survive the recession or slowdown, but thrive during it. This is CMO Live, where typically I talk through modern marketing tactics, strategy, and the tools that you need to grow your real estate business. Today, we're going to focus on a topic that I know a lot of people are asking about because I've been talking to a lot of you about it. In the last just couple of days, probably since last Thursday, actually Thursday and Friday, I think I spoke to, I know more than 24, probably closer to 30 agents directly, spoke to half a dozen of our certified partners. Today, I have been on Messenger and talking with one of our partners that's built more than 15,000 real estate websites and 3 or 4 that have built dozens of sites and helped out agents as well. And so I know this topic's on hand for people, and I really want to bring it up because I find many agents make the wrong moves during an economic slowdown, and it costs many of them their business. And so today we're going to talk through what I've seen wise realtors and other small businesses that what they've done to thrive during a market slowdown, and actually not just to kind of survive through it, but make sure they thrive. So. Question 1, are we going into an economic slowdown? I don't know. I can't answer that for you specifically, but I can give you some guidance and the data to show you what we should do and what you should do with your business if we do end up going into one. Personally, I just saw a comment from another senior marketer today, actually a business owner, where he believes we'll bounce back very quickly, and that a lot of what we've seen in the markets in the last week has been uncertainty. And as we get further down this path, that uncertainty, whether it's more work from home or less, that as the uncertainty gets figured out, the markets will recover much faster. But today we're going to talk through what you should do regardless, whether this is a quick bounce back or something slower. So as I mentioned, we're several weeks into COVID-19 outbreak. It's more recent in the U.S. right now. I've spoken to a lot of people, and I mean, we can, though, look back at digital marketing because it's not like we've just been doing this for a year or two. We can look back at other global pandemics and economic kind of slowdowns, whether it's a pandemic like coronavirus, H1N1, which infected 60 million Americans, sent more than 700,000 to the hospital, saw tens of thousands die. Whether or not it's a domestic recession or even just a regional pullback. So, I mean, this applies is equally what we're going to talk about today, whether or not we do happen to go into more of a national slowdown or just whether or not you're in a housing market that was currently slowed down or may slow down in the future. At the beginning, whenever there's a slowdown, a lot of times we often don't know how long it's going to take. And because of that, I mean, it takes a little while for me anyways to think about, gosh, how long is this going to progress? What should I be doing today? And sometimes I find the steeper that kind of slowdown looks, or in this case, how it could feel, those emotions take a little while to get through. And so I find I have to seek out a lot of times to ask for wise counsel as well. And that's what I'm trying to offer you guys a little bit today, because we are able to look back at data, what's happened in the past, who has been successful, who has not been successful during other slowdowns. And so the good news is that whenever there's a slowdown, whether regionally or nationally, even if it was a global slowdown, things always turn around. Hopefully with as little loss of life as possible in the case of the coronavirus. But I'm really encouraged by how many of the work at home initiatives so many businesses have taken the past few weeks. I mean, here at Showcase, a lot of us work from home pretty regularly. This is my home office. Was set up. I did take the first couple days as things were going last week to make sure I straightened up and kind of prepared to work from home a little bit more. But seeing that from so many very large companies, some brokerages have taken that steps actually from their founding, but we've seen that just within real estate and within kind of technology as a whole, which has been great. And actually that may end up helping, the economy long term as we create a much more flexible work and home environment, and also just make it easier to hire people, good people around the country. So, but but because of I've been a marketer for so long, and because of some of my roles in the industry, I mean, if you're not familiar with that, feel free to go look on LinkedIn or anything. I mean, I was a executive and founder at some of the early marketing technology companies within social media management that actually help Facebook with their APIs, help businesses of all sizes grow their Facebook pages and actually start Facebook marketing, really. Same thing from influencer marketing, where I helped found one of the first influencer marketing platforms. So because of that and some other places within location-based marketing, real estate in the last couple of years, I've worked directly with dozens of companies across industries, but I've been able to coach thousands of business owners, marketers, and even solo entrepreneurs like agents. So that gives me some solid insights into what works well and what to avoid. It also lets me see a lot of the data as well. So with that, as mentioned, I always believe in seeking wise counsel. So in the past few days, I mentioned some of the people that I've spoken to, but I've also reached out to other friends that are very senior experts in marketing, real estate marketing, and just the wider landscape. And they all agree with one thing, that whether you believe we're going into an economic slowdown now or not, that you should use your concerns of a potential slowdown to take inventory of your business, make wise decisions for how you spend your time, and that you should use this time, if we do end up going into a slowdown, to focus, if you're a real estate agent, on your real estate website, the content that will help your clients now, but in the future especially. And you should look for ways to automate your business in the future. So it's an infographic that's available on our website. I've shared it on LinkedIn actually just maybe an hour or so ago as I'm filming this. By all means, I'd love if you would share some of this, but we're going to walk through the details in here. And if you have questions, feel free to comment on this video, send me a message. You can always find me at Twitter or LinkedIn as well. But as I went on and talked to people, so many people kind of reminded me of this quote from Rand back in 2009. For those of you that may not be familiar with Rand Fishkin, he was the founder of Moz, one of the two leading search engine optimization software companies. Has left there to do other endeavors. But Moz, when I was at Moz in 2009, right after we saw the big bust happen then, he commented that sales might drop, conversion rates might falter a bit, but raw search traffic isn't going anywhere. A recession does not mean that people stop searching the web, and that broadband adoption rates, internet penetration, or even the searches per user are consistently going to rise. Search is no fad. It's here for the long haul. And so I was just kind of comment that directly, and that I'd felt, and so many of the other senior marketers that I know in the industry have kind of spoken of. Look, this is the time. If you're spending thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars a month on paid ads, on advertising, I would probably pull that back. We're at least going to probably see a little bit of a hiccup, but if there's a real slowdown, paid media always has a much lower ROI. Buyers and sellers in the real estate market are much more hesitant. So the cost of acquisition gets a lot higher. There's a lot more noise for people. And really, the decision-making process for the average person does change. So in the case of somebody looking for buying and selling a home, they're a lot less likely to actually convert on an ad, and much more likely to convert where they have a strong belief in the brand, the individual, even the content. So that's what we're going to talk about here just a little bit as we continue going through, because there is a big opportunity here. And so as we look at this, what should you do? Well, let's talk through just a little bit of that. It could first increase the visibility of your personal brand. Now, I don't want you going out there telling people, oh, I've got a big open house coming up, or talking so much even about your pedigree. You've sold 400 homes in the last X number of months or quarters. That's not necessarily what I want you to do here. But when you work on your personal brand properly and you show value and maybe use some proof points based on your background, you have an opportunity to increase your personal brand. You have a real chance to increase the number of visitors to your website. not just today and during perhaps a slowdown, but especially going forward. So we're going to talk about that, about things you can do specifically to start to ramp your search engine volume, and why this is a great time to invest in doing that today. You can also increase your credibility and market share. You can increase the number of returning clients. I just spoke with a friend that's in Indiana, that's an agent, and looking at how he can better work through his sphere of influence today so that he has more returning clients in the future. Very smart guy, realtor that I like, that I would trust, that I would likely use if I was in his market. We may even interview him in the coming days. But ways that you can go through during this time period to increase your returning clients, whether now or in the future. Maybe I'll also increase your sales. And now you may not increase your sales over last month or last quarter, but increase your sales over what they otherwise would be if you were to otherwise just sit on the sidelines. And ways to frankly generate a profit. I mentioned one is I might consider cutting some expenses related to paid media right now. But if you're doing anything related to organic or content marketing, this is really the time to kind of double down on that. So as I mentioned on this infographic, that you should remember that your marketing budget is an investment. It's not an expense. That does not mean that you shouldn't look at ways to curtail certain things. If you have a co-working space, maybe this is the time that you let that go. But if it's part of your core marketing, your content marketing, this is really an investment in keeping your business and making it thrive. So from an engagement perspective, what are 7 steps that you can take? Well, the first is you can work smart to retain your existing client base. This is times where maybe I advise you don't go door knocking if we do continue down the path it looks like we are in with coronavirus. But it's definitely time to schedule phone calls. It's the time to do video conferences like this, get face-to-face as close as you can with people. I have a group of men that I meet with at least twice a month, and we're supposed to meet on Thursday morning for breakfast. We meet at least twice a month for breakfast. It's usually 6 to 6:30 in the morning. Instead, we will all be getting coffee at home, and we will be doing the Google Hangout so that we keep that personal interaction time. Number 2, it's time to get more visible in front of your target niches. The first one's more about your direct one-on-one, and the second way, I'm talking about doing things like Facebook Lives, maybe recorded videos, or other ways that you can get in front of your target niche. 3 is I might look at how you can invest time in improving your real estate website. We've talked about this in other videos. If you talk to anybody who's wise in real estate marketing, they all acknowledge you don't want your clients going to Zillow and where they're going to enter their information and be subjected to being called by other realtors. You want to have a real estate website that has a home search that keeps your clients on your site. But more than that, this is the time where you want to build out community pages, hot sheets, as we're going to talk about, lots of specific content that in other ways, even technical issues. If you have any glitches that you've had on your website, this is the time to fix those. By all means, take time on focusing on driving conversions. That I talked about in our success guide and the video series that went along with that there are times in my business that I focus on just brand building. For the next couple of weeks, I would really look at how I can focus on driving some conversions. And that conversion might mean to listing a home or to helping somebody buy one. But it also means things about earlier in your sales funnel. How do you get in front of somebody like on a face-to-face like this? I would look at that as a conversion right now, and I would optimize to that. Somebody signs up in your website, great, that's wonderful. I want to make sure that I get on a video call with them so that I can talk to them. The 5th thing I might do is set aside time to write 1 to 2 valuable hyperlocal articles per week and schedule those for a future release. I mean, if we do go into a slowdown, you could sit down and if you invest the time rather than watching Netflix right now, not that we may not have time for that, but if you're writing 1 to 2 articles a week right now or more, we're talking long form articles, good SEO articles. Those are times where you don't have to publish them all right now. You can go through and schedule those in WordPress so that they drip out. And you might be able to write enough content for the next 6 months or maybe even through the end of the year right now that would drip out. In Roswell, we often have during the summer months. We'll see what it looks like this year. We have Alive After 5. They block off Canton Street in Roswell. The local businesses have booths that come out. And we literally just kind of flock there, listen to live music. Great. That's a wonderful article. If I was a realtor here in Roswell, I'd be writing about local events like that and others. I'd be looking at things of hiking trails here in town that people could go to. We have a boardwalk in Roswell along the Chattahoochee River. I mean, my wife and I go there at least a couple times a week normally. And a lot of people know about it, but I was at the chiropractor just a week ago and I mentioned it to Tim there. Tim lives in the next town over, had no idea about it. It's a great article at this time when people want to get out of the house. I might also look at building meaningful hyperlocal community pages. So I mentioned I live in Roswell. I may build a community page around my neighborhood or around single family homes within 2 miles of Roswell High School. And you're not just going to build a hot sheet and just do a search and showcase and put that on there. You want to write 400 to maybe even 1,500 words of meaningful content minimum for each one of these pages. That's going to be content that's going to go both above the searches and then content that's going to go below the search as well. So that one, it's valuable information. You want to write this not to trick Google. You want to write this so it's useful to your clients and visitors, but that information shows Google that this page is much more valuable. That's how you outrank Zillow. So with the way that Showcase brings in our content, brings in the MLS data, it looks natural to Google. But that's the very same type of content that's on Zillow. It's the way that we bring this in and you writing or one of our certified partners helping you write content on those community pages. That's how you rank those pages, not just top 10, but sometimes top 3 and even number 1 on Google for a search term. And then this is also the time that I want you to measure, test, learn both on the experiments that you've done, but also things like we have a number of free courses on our Real Estate Academy that walk through modern marketing. This is the great time to set aside an hour, 2 hours a day and just go through a little bit more of one of those courses. So overall, I mean, as we kind of look at this, in organic traffic and content marketing outperform all other channels and get only more powerful over time. And especially during an economic slowdown, they very much outperform all other channels, especially any sort of paid ads. So wise marketers know that sitting around during downturns does not help you grow your business today or next year. So while you may not be showing listings or as many houses or doing open houses, or if you do, you may have less visitors. The great news is that this does give you a time during this downturn to reshape your marketing strategy and do the work that will grow your business. So that's what I hope will be of real help for you as we kind of look at what's going forward. And there's a lot of data we have behind that as well. I mean, digital marketing, your personal brand, digital marketing is how you keep your personal brand high in the community anyways. And frankly, customers are more likely to turn to brands that they readily remember and that they trust. So this is a great time actually for you as an agent to be reinforcing your personal brand and where you sit within the community. And some of that's, like I said, not even related to real estate. It's also you just providing that level head because so many people have strong emotions and feelings right now. And you as an agent get to speak truth into them about what has happened in past downturns, what the value of the housing market looks like. You can point out to them that, hey, the Fed just dropped rates to really 0, but that doesn't necessarily directly correlate to what's going to happen to mortgages as well. And there are some numbers to look at this as well. It's not just the thoughts about what I had, but even if you look at what's happened in modern real estate marketing in just the last, 1, 2, 3 years, but even more recently, what does the stats say? So over the last year, I've helped analyze over 100,000 real estate websites, and I've seen hundreds of individual agents do the work that grows their business. A lot of that we talk about in those free courses that I mentioned. And I've been able to see the data that backs up why online marketing is so important for agents. So the Made in America movement just released their 2020 real estate report. And one of the things they point out in there is that 49% of real estate agents feel that their top marketing challenge is generating enough high quality leads. That's huge, especially when you look at how poor agents typically feel that paid ads works for them. It's something like 17 to 19% of agents feel that paid ads are useful to helping them grow their business. So if you follow the steps that I've talked about in this infographic and in this video, it will help you grow your business and generate more leads. Another number from that same report is that 79% of sellers are more likely to list their home with an agent who has their own website with a good MLS Property Search. Now, in this report from MAME, they also released one version of it where they show like 17 top tools for real estate agents, and they talk a lot about what qualifies as a good MLS Property Search. Definitely go look at that. We may link to that in this video. If I come back to it, I don't have it handy, but I will try to include it in the comments. Another one here from this one was from NAR, from a 2018 report. And I've seen some 2019 reports that are even a little bit higher than this. But then as of 2018, 95% of home buyers visit their real estate agent's website during their home search. And so this is one of the things that really has come out as I've talked to agents at keynotes and workshops over the last year. Some agents, they don't understand why things are growing for them and why they're not. So in that case, if you think that 95% of home buyers are more likely or visit an agent's website and you don't have a website, well, that means that you're in that 5%. So of all the people that don't have websites, you're having to compete with only 5% of the total buyers because 95% are checking out an agent's website and they're using that as one of the ways that they vet their agent. So I do have a meeting come up. That's that little ding runs if you heard that. But I want to get through this though for you because I think helping you guys grow during this time is what's most important, where I can most help you with my time. And it's not necessarily just attending another meeting or speaking to an individual agent, even though I love to do those things. So those numbers show just a little bit why the investment is in SEO is so critical and why you should be re-engaging your past clients. The good news is that you can do this yourself. There's not a single agent that I have spoken to in a workshop or at a keynote that isn't able to do the work, even to build a real estate website themselves if you don't have one already. And if you have one already, if you're one of the showcase clients, whether you've come in through one of our certified partners or you've built a site yourself, you can build these hot sheets and some of this content yourself. If you have questions about that, let us know at help@showcaseidx.com, or you can find us on chat on the website. If you have been, working on your cash flow over the previous quarters while things have been really well in many parts of the country, and you want to go faster, this is definitely a time to enlist one of our certified partners because they can help you do that as well. So as we continue kind of going through here, the bottom line is that a good marketing strategy and focus on implementation is always the best response in general, but especially during an economic crisis. So what I want to just remind you of is that if you do this work, if you spend the time now rather than just sitting on the sidelines and you spend it investing in your business and building good content, you'll be ahead of your competition. You'll be able to continue to run your real estate business at a rate that will ensure profitability both during the economic recession, but you'll also be able to survive the recession like no other. And when times are good, you should be selling and not necessarily doing SEO. But when things are slow, don't just complain and goof off. Use this time to invest in your future. And so what advice do I have beyond this for agents focusing on things during a specific downturn? Well, I do have a couple things I've listed. Let me scroll down the bottom here. I will try to include these for the notes for the video as well. They are at the bottom of this sheet. Next steps is one is if you have not read through or gone through the course on the features that drive our 24 most successful real estate websites, do that. I'm continuing to do some new videos on those as well, and we'll be rolling those out in the future. But this is a great time to go through each of those features and adjust the settings in your website. Number two, we have a variety of free courses, as I mentioned, on the Academy, including one that walks through what effective social media looks like, where we also give you over 200 pieces of social media content that you can start using today, both video and images. And we also show you a way that you can find some of the best content to automate parts of that for your business. So if you have other ideas on what people should be focusing on right now, by all means, leave a comment to this video. I'd love to hear it. If you have questions on what you should be doing with your business today, your website, maybe even articles that you should be writing, leave those as a comment. Reach out to me directly. You can find me on Twitter or LinkedIn as well. And let me know how we can help you either with future videos or helping you continue to grow your website. I just reviewed an article today for one of our certified partners that they wrote for agents during this time. So that's something that would love to look at some of the content that you're writing. We cannot review all of your pieces, but we might have time, if we can squeeze it in, to look at one of your articles and give some feedback on that and let you use that as a template for rolling out more content in the future. So until our next video, my name is Kurt Euler, and let's keep growing your business.